President Goodluck Jonathan recently unveiled a new import policy being pursued by the federal government. It should favour local manufacturers. Joining us now from Lagos to discuss the new economic management team's economic policy, Esili Eigbe, who's with corporate and investment banking research at Stanbic IBTC. Thanks so much for your time, Esili. The details of this import policy, do you have them?
Yeah, what the import policy seeks to do is to get the large-scale manufacturers of certain goods and commodities, to import some of these products, in excess of, where you have a deficit in the production, in local production. So what it's basically doing is to make the importation of those products exclusive to local producers with scale.
A big issue for Nigeria is diversifying the economy, but also boosting its industrial capacity. One of the sad, issues around Africa is regression when it comes to industrialization. When they're focusing on local manufacturers, is it going to bridge this gap?
And of course it will. I think what this does first and foremost is that it encourages, the needed investment in local capacity. Then obviously you're saving some foreign exchange, and then you could go on to creating jobs, and I think to a large degree consolidating the sector.
What about the pervasive issues we know that plague manufacturers in Nigeria? Infrastructure, disruptive electricity, input costs, for instance, and a lot of the imports that they also have to incur in those inputs, and the volatility of the exchange rate in these circumstances?
I think it's likely that those will remain, they will remain challenges, but I think we should bear in mind that the key focus for the current administration is power. Power remains a key frustration for a lot of the local producers of goods and services. So I think if they're able to sort of improve the production of power and its reliability, that would obviously go a long way to ease some of the challenges that the local manufacturing companies have. But like you said, there are still other challenges. But since this is sort of the focus of the government for now, I think probably in the medium term we'll probably see a resolution to that and then move to solve other problems. The distribution channel are quite weak. We have very bad roads, and like you said, the imports, the cost of importing some of these commodities, and so many others, like also human resources. I think those will basically solve themselves, along the line. But I think those are more long-term. Those will probably see more long-term solutions. So I think power will be sort of the immediate area that the government will look to tackle.
Within the import policy, there's huge emphasis on food security and domestic supply, targeted areas, rice production and sugar. Why is that?
I think a lot of that discussion, or the statement that the president made, came off from a discussion he had with a local food producer, flour mills, who already produces or sort of imports and bags rice, and they'll also looking to produce sugar. So I guess if I put in context what's going on in the sugar industry, you have a situation where there's a lot of interest in local production. You have Dangote sugar, you have Boa sugar, and flour mills also looking to build capacity around about 750 million tons. 750,000 tons. But the challenge there is that there is still a large importation of raw sugar into Nigeria, and also refined sugar for industrial use. So what the producers of refined sugar would like to do is to persuade the government to reduce the importation of refined and raw sugar, so that they can boost output and obviously realize the value that they intended to from those investments. So I think the same will also apply to rice as well. You have flour mills with some capacity in cultivating rice and other products like soya beans, and so I expect them to backward integrate, which is basically the thrust of flour mills policy strategy going forward, and we can expect them to probably start producing rice, package that, and put it out in the market.
Are we
basically, get into the food security that you mentioned earlier.
Are we going to see more local producers coming to the fore? This import program follows hot on the heels of a discussion that the new Minister of Trade and Investment had with local producers. Already ₦1 trillion being committed to breweries, for instance, bottling plants, to the agri economy, and also to petrochemicals.
I don't expect that to happen just immediately. I think it's something that will take, some time. I mean, we've seen the agricultural fund, as a big example, the agricultural credit fund, and we've seen how that has sort of taken time to get disbursed, get out to farmers, and actually see the impact on the economy. So I expect the same thing as well with this new fund. You obviously have to select credible and, I'd say, quite credible producers or, investors who are looking to stay in the sector for long term. And I think that is basically how you see this translate into something positive. But I think very key is obviously not just having the policy, but also implementing the policy effectively. I mean, for some of these products, there is already some level of a limitation on imports, but the government obviously needs to go to the next level. And I think what really differentiates, the existing policy, what the government is trying to implement now, is that existing producers of the products or commodities will be directly involved in importing them if they have to.